Naruto has such a plethora of characters that I had to dive back in, and I know I've had plenty of requests for Sasuke, as well as Naruto's father, or tons of enemies, or even the pervy sage himself, Jiraiya, but today I want to dive into that slightly creepy ninja and slightly challenge myself because D&D is notably lacking when it comes to earth-based spells. So we're going to go ahead and build Gaara from Naruto, because this is D&D Builds, where we have an outlet to make all sorts of ridiculous Dungeons & Dragons characters and stop driving the people in our lives insane with them. Gaara is a ninja of the Sand Village, and he relies pretty heavily on jutsu more than most. We don't see him dashing around using daggers quite as much. For him, it's all about those sand jutsu, as well as finding a way to pull off the one-tailed beast. So first things first, we gotta pick a race. We're gonna keep it simple and go with Variant Human. That allows us to pick up a feat right at first level, and we're gonna grab Warcaster. This gives us advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration on spells. You can perform somatic components of a spell even when you have weapons or a shield in both hands, which helps because Gaara is usually just standing there with his arms crossed. And finally, when a hostile creature's movement provokes an opportunity attack, you can actually cast a spell as a reaction against them. Then when it comes to a background, I know in the past when it comes to Naruto characters, very often I've gone with faction agent when dealing with the particular villages, but Gaara's got a pretty haunted past, so I'm going to go with the background Haunted One, giving us proficiency in religion and survival. We do get one skill that I almost forgot to mention from being a variant human, and considering you are a ninja, we're gonna grab stealth. Then when it comes to some starting stats using point buy from the player's handbook, we need to think about the fact that Gaara is a ninja, so we're gonna dump strength and boost our dexterity all the way to 14. Then we're gonna take our constitution, bring it to 15, and then get another +1 from being a human variant. This is going to help our health and our concentration checks. Then we are going to have to do some very definite casting. And there's 3 different stats for casting, either intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. He is definitely not charismatic, so we're going to lean into the intelligence, bringing that to 15 and then getting another +1 from being a human variant. That leaves us with 2 points left over, and we're going to throw it into wisdom, bringing it to 10, because Gaara is sure as hell not charismatic, and we're gonna dump that down to 8. Then when it comes to a starting class, like I mentioned, Gaara doesn't do quite as much heavy duty ninja stuff. He relies on those sand jutsu. And if we're gonna focus that heavily on the spells, let's go wizard. When you choose a wizard at first level, you get proficiency in intelligence and wisdom saving throws, and you get to choose 2 skills. We'll grab Arcana and Investigation, both of which being boosted pretty heavily by our intelligence. Then at first level of wizard, you get some spell casting. Obviously, you're a wizard, that's kinda your thing. But we're going to save all the spells for the end of this build. Wizards can have more spells prepared than any other class in D&D because you can basically learn an unlimited amount of spells, or jutsu in this situation, and then the amount of spells you actually know on hand is going to be your intelligence modifier plus your wizard level. Additionally, at first level of wizard, you get access to ritual casting. So if you have a spell in your spellbook that has the ritual tag, you don't have to have it memorized at any given point. You can always cast it, you just have to only cast it as a ritual. Then the last thing you get from being a first level of wizard is Arcane Recovery. So once per day when you finish a short rest, you can choose to recover some spell slots that you've used, building your chakra back up. The spell slots you regain can be equal to less than half of your wizard level rounded up. And none of those spells can be of a slot higher than 6th level. Then at 2nd level of wizard, you get an arcane tradition, otherwise known as a subclass. And with how Gaara uses so many of his spells so defensively, creating a shield and a barrier for himself, or even a second skin, I feel like it's most fitting to go with an Abjuration wizard. And I want to streamline this a bit, because wizards are super straightforward. As they level up, they get stronger and stronger spell slots and a handful of ability score improvements, but most of what they get is from their subclass, at least until level 18. So diving right into this subclass, the first feature you get when you choose this subclass at 2nd level is Abjuration Savant. So it's a little cheaper and faster for you to copy Abjuration spells into your spellbook. Additionally, at 2nd level, you get Arcane Ward. So when you cast any Abjuration spell of 1st level or higher, you can simultaneously create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. It has hit points equal to twice your wizard level plus your intelligence modifier. And when you take damage, the ward actually takes damage instead. Just like how you can create that sand barrier or that second skin. But if the ward's hit points is reduced to 0, you take any remaining damage from that attack. However, the thing is, you always have sand in that giant jug on your back. So that ward is always going to be active, even if its hit points are at 0. So whenever you cast an Abjuration spell at first level or higher, the ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the level of the spell, just kind of refilling the sand in your armor. Once you get all the way to 6th level of being a wizard in Abjuration, you get Projected Ward, so you can actually reach that ward out to protect somebody else within 30 feet of you, using your reaction to cause the arcane ward to absorb the damage, but still following the original arcane ward's rules in every other way. Then once you hit 10th level as an Abjuration wizard, you get Improved Abjuration. So when you cast an Abjuration spell that requires you to make an ability check as part of casting that spell, like when you cast Counterspell or Dispel Magic, you can actually add your proficiency bonus to that ability check. So you're actually one of the best counterspellers in D&D. This doesn't directly relate to Gaara too much, except for his general ability to interrupt what people are doing with his overbearing sand jutsus. Then once you hit 14th level of Abjuration Wizard, you get spell resistance. So in general, you just have advantage on saving throws against spells. Furthermore, you have resistance to any damage from spells. So that sand barrier is just that much stronger. And that's most of the features you're going to get from Wizard. You also get a handful of ability score improvements, so running through all of those, at 4th level I would just boost up your intelligence by 2 points, at 8th level I would boost it up by 2 more points, maxing it out, then at 12th level I would boost up that constitution by 2 points, and then at 16th level I would do it one more time, maxing it out, and then finally at 19th level of Wizard, I would boost your dexterity by 2 points, just making you a little more nimble. That covers most of what you get leveling up through Wizard, except for the feature at 18th level, Spell Mastery, which allows you to choose a 1st level wizard spell and a 2nd level wizard spell that are in your spellbook, and you can always cast those at their lowest level without expending a spell slot. And then the final feature you get from 20th level of Wizard is Signature Spells. So you gain mastery over 2 very powerful spells. You get to choose 2 3rd level wizard spells. They don't count against the number of spells that you have prepared, and you can cast each of them once at 3rd level without expending a spell slot. And while we've talked tons about spells, we haven't actually picked any yet. So let's go ahead and dive into that spell list. We have 5 cantrips we could choose and up to 25 prepared spells. We're not going to go through absolutely every single one of them, but we'll cover most of them. If you want the full list of what I choose, feel free to check out my Patreon, which I always link, and has access to all the character sheets for all of my builds. But let's dive into some of the most important ones now, because as far as cantrips, you're going to grab Sword Burst and Mage Hand, because they kind of have more vague ideas of what they can do. You can pretend that the Mage Hand is made out of sand, and Sword Burst just kind of blasts everybody around you. Also, there's Chill Touch, which despite the name, doesn't actually do any cold damage. It's just kind of a chilling grasp around you because it's made out of a skeletal hand, but you can just as easily pretend that hand is made out of sand. Then another one that would probably work pretty well is Infestation. This actually does create some mites or fleas that forces your enemies to move in a random direction, but you can pretend that the sand itself is creeping onto them and pushing them around, while also dealing a bit of damage. Even though technically the damage from this cantrip is poison, we're just going to have to kind of ignore that. Then of course the final cantrip we gotta grab is Mold Earth, one of the few earth spells that's available, so there's no way we could avoid it. Then when it comes to 1st level spells, we gotta grab at least one earth-based spell with Earth Tremor, and then we gotta make sure you have that defensive ability to block things with your sand. So we'll of course grab Mage Armor and Shield. And Shield is gonna be one of the spells we use as our spell mastery. This actually improves your armor class by 5 points, which is pretty massive in D&D, and when it's a spell mastery, you can just do it all the time without ever worrying about your spell slots. Then when it comes to 2nd level spells, we're gonna grab Dust Devil, which is just swirling up a bunch of sand, Earthbind to grab somebody with your sand, Hold Person for similar effect, and Maximilian's Earthen Grasp, which is so spot on for what Gaara would do that there's no way we could avoid it. So we're also going to make this our other spell mastery spell. Then when it comes to 3rd level spells, we got to grab Counterspell because that's too awesome to have as an Abjuration Wizard. Then we really got to make sure we cover those 2 signature spells we can have ready at 3rd level. So we're going to grab the 2 other earth-based spells with Erupting Earth and Wall of Sand. Then when it comes to 4th level spell slots, we're going to grab Avard's Black Tentacles, which I know is a bit more of a slimy idea when it comes to tentacles, but it's another way we can reenact the earth coming up and grabbing somebody, so I think it works. We'll also grab Summon Elemental, so you can actually summon an earth elemental, and then at 5th level of spells, we're going to grab Bigby's Hand, which is just going to be a massive hand that you summon out of sand, and Wall of Stone, which is just going to be an amped up version of Wall of Sand. Then when it comes to 6th level spells, we're going to grab Investiture of Stone, so your whole body takes on that more earth-like appearance and has some more earthen properties. Follow it up with Move Earth, and then we're going to add on Tensor's Transformation. So you can actually handle one of those first Jinchuriki transformations, allowing the one-tailed beast to kind of come out from inside of you. This will make it so you have additional hit points, you have advantage on attack rolls, you have proficiency with all armor and weapons, you get proficiency in strength and constitution saving throws, and you can attack twice instead of once. And if you do actually hit somebody with a weapon attack, that target's going to take an extra 2d12 force damage. And just furthering that overall transformation, when it comes to a 7th level spell, I would grab Draconic Transformation. This will give you a breath weapon, so if you're channeling that one-tailed beast, you can blast out a whole bunch of force damage. And speaking of force, the other 7th level spell we're going to grab is Forcecage, which you can think of as the sand prison jutsu. Then we still have 8th level spells we can choose, but frankly, there's not a ton that fit Gaara super well, so I'll make sure to add something on my Patreon, but I want to stick with the theme of this character, so for this video, I'm not going to worry about it too much. Then when we finally get to 9th level spells, we gotta grab Shapechange. This is going to allow us to fully transform into the one-tailed beast and get incredibly powerful, because you can transform yourself into a creature that is equal in challenge rating to your overall character level, while still retaining your own intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. And considering the one-tailed beast can practically be considered a giant dragon type creature, there's plenty of powerful dragons for you to transform into. Let me know what you think about this build in the comments down below, whether there's anything you do differently, whether you really like it or hate it or whatever. Let me know down there, as well as maybe what your favorite Naruto character is, because I've gotten plenty of requests and I want to make sure I hit all of them. If you want access to the character sheet for this build or any of my other builds, feel free to check out my Patreon, linked in the description down below, where you can be just as awesome as all of these people, but especially Bad in Person, Caleb Roan, Isabel Walker, Carcat Kitsune, Keylon, Lumiere97, Melendez Robinson, Mikey Zapita, The Dino 21, Omar C, Viral Naravar, Yaksha Senpai, and Z13. And then going above and beyond that is all my Dungeon Master level patrons that I actually play D&D with here on YouTube as well as over on Twitch. Benjamin, Braden Aldridge, Connor Kitchen, Daniel Galvin, Demiurge, Devin Happy, Eric Wade, GameSteak, Heyo, Kilo, Michael, Tristan Bennett, and Zalvador. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, let me know by hitting that like button, and I'll be here hoping to roll at least 3 nat 20s in your next D&D session, especially if you want to play as a creepy sand ninja from Naruto like Gaara in Dungeons & Dragons.